Red Wings hockey on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Xfinity. Call 1-800-XFINITY today for a great offer. Ram Trucks, Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. And by Meijer. Spring is here. Come into Meijer and save on everything you need to refresh your home, wardrobe, and yard. And welcome back to First Niagara Center in downtown Buffalo. Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond, Trevor Thompson, and our Fox Sports Detroit crew with you. And our Southeast Michigan Ford dealers brings you the starting goaltenders tonight. Jimmy Howard got the night off Saturday. And the night before against these Sabres, he won his 20th for a 5th straight season. And for Buffalo tonight, the man who also played Friday, former Plymouth Whaler Matt Hackett, the only healthy Sabres goaltender at the moment. The referees tonight are Kevin Pollock and Dean Morton. And the Red Wings will start with Pavel Datsyuk up front in the familiar number 1 line position. He's got Johan Franzen on the left and Justin Abdelkader on the right. Brendan Smith and Nick Kronwall in behind. Tyler Ennis, number 63 at center for Buffalo, their leading point getter with 42. And back in the lineup, Marcus Foligno, number 82, and Chris Stewart, number 80. Stewart playing his first in 17 games. He'd been out with an injury, and they weren't sure whether they'd get Marcus Foligno back, but he is after missing just a couple.
Well, Mike Babcock has shuffled his lines around, as we showed you in the open of the show. He wasn't happy in Montreal with giving up 5 goals, and he wants to find a way to get the puck to Gus Nyquist. He hasn't been getting it the last couple of games, and again, they got to be careful with Pavel Datsyuk coming back into the lineup that you don't readjust too much, trying to accommodate number 13, and everything else goes down the drain, because they've been pretty hot lately with the kids.
Abdelkader worked away from Ruotsalainen, comes back to the line here to Brendan Smith with a shot that was going wide, and Matt Hackett will hold on a face-off coming up to the goaltender's left. And behind the other bench tonight, a former Red Wing draft pick way back when, Teddy Nolan.
And congratulations to Ted Nolan. He's just signed a 3-year contract with the Sabres, and a lot of people wondered with Pat LaFontaine returning to the NHL, we brought Ted Nolan in here to try to straighten this mess out, whether he would be, but good for him. He's back for a couple more years after today, or after this year.
Here's a chance back into the slot, and a backhand right in front of Howard, taken away there by Quincy for David Legwand, who's dropped down in the Red Wing unit. Third line playing here. Don't go right at the moment with Drew Miller and Luke Glendening. And is back to pick it up is Quincy in his own zone for his partner Danny DeKeyser. Back for Kyle Quincy, who Mike Babcock was speaking of this morning, saying yes, he had some bad luck early and the goals were going in when he was on and not a lot of goals for, so his minus was poor the first couple of months, but has picked up a lot lately as it's brought in here by Tatar with Nyquist and Shan. Looked in front of the goal to Tatar. He had to come right back to him, put it in front of the goal. Tried to find Nyquist in front, but he was too well covered. And as the puck is out at center ice and going to regroup there, the Sabres have it. That goes off the skate of Nyquist and in behind Hackett. So Buffalo will set up. And that's out of play, and there's going to be a penalty here. So the Sabres
clean.
Number 6, Buffalo, 2 minutes delay a game.
So Mike Weber, who's been playing on a bad ankle for the last few months. Some think he shouldn't be in the lineup, but he's a gamer and he's in. But this one he did not want to do.
Wow. Didn't look like it was a bad play by any means, but it's an automatic call. They should call that the Chris Chelios rule. He was as good as anybody at supposedly faking that it was an accident that went out, but he always meant it to be and to delay the game, and that's why one of the reasons why they changed the rule, made it automatic.
Red Wings on a Bell Tire power play that is 2 for 9 in the season series against Buffalo. The Red Wings have won all 3 from the Sabres, including in here late November, 3-1. Datsyuk carries in. Legwand had moved in as the puck went back to the right point position. Kronwall got it ahead to Franzen, turns just inside the line. Left it there for Nyquist. Back pass to Kronwall. To Gus Nyquist again. Looks back, high slot, Franzen off the goal post. Rebound, Datsyuk, back to Nyquist, to Datsyuk again. So Franzen off the pipe. He hit the crossbar the other night. Franzen circles back in here to Kronwall. Franzen across the one-timer. Datsuk hit the stick of Legwan. Goes to the corner to get it. Back for Datsuk. Datsuk's played just under 18 minutes each of his first 2 games. Datsuk comes out of the corner with it. Knocked off his stick. Moved quickly over by Franzen. Just too far for Kronwall, who gathered it back in. Around the kick plate it goes to the far side. Nyquist tried to play it back. Franzen good holding at the line and another good move. Had to escape Datsuk too. Franzen cuts back into the middle again and got dumped. Legwan went back to the line. Nyquist able to handle it on his backhand. Now he moves into a shooting position, gets it from Datsuk, back in front to Legwan. Puck still loose. Legwan determined effort, as was Datsuk. Red Wings keep controlling this Bell Tire power play. Franzen one-timer high and over top of the goal. Whacked around to the left point, moved quickly here to Franzen by Kronwall. Franzen down low to Datsuk, top of the right circle. Off a skate, came in front. Franzen in deep to pick it up. Trying to work around Mark Pesek, just called up from Rochester, the American Hockey League. Datsuk with it again, so this unit's been out the whole time. There's a shot just wide. Franzen couldn't take it off the backboards, off the skate in front. Legwan looking for it, and it stayed out. A sprawling Hackett.
Nyquist doesn't like the whistle, thinks it was too quick, and how that didn't go in, I'm not sure. Franzen around the side of the net. Boy, oh boy, that's as good a looking a power play as we've seen from the Red Wings in a long time. This puck goes into the crease, off a couple of skates. Hackett recovers, and out of there, the puck wasn't even frozen. That's what I thought. Quick whistle there to the benefit of the Buffalo Sabres. Hackett scrambling around there like a monkey on a high wire. Wow, look at that, the whistle's gone. That puck is way loose.
So the Red Wings 0 for 1 on the power play. Alfredsson went back to the line and across for DeKeyser. Helm, Yurko, and Alfredsson. The forward line for Detroit. And a penalty coming here to the Red Wings. So Dean Morton and Kevin Pollock active so far here in the first 4 minutes of this game.
43 Detroit, 2 minutes goalie interference.
Goalie interference, eh? Okie dokie, let's have a look. Looked like Darren purposely put his stick there. I'm not sure why he would do that. You know you're going to get that call if the referee has any chance to see it.
So Buffalo goes to a power play. They have the longest current active streak in the National Hockey League with a power play in 4 straight games. A save there by Howard. Buffalo 4 for their last 15 on the power play. They scored 1 in the 3-2 loss to the Red Wings Friday night. Tyler Ennis with 42 points in the season. Maybe their only Sabre with 45 by the end of the year. A good save there by Jimmy Howard. And Mick, it's time for our predictions for today's Fox Sports Detroit Red Wings Player of the Game is presented by McDonald's New Bacon Clubhouse Burger, and they are... I'm going with Pavel Datsuk. I took the Trevor Thompson way of doing things. Go with the guy you should. You went with Johan Franzen, who's got just 1 goal his last 15 due to break out. And Trevor went with Jimmy Howard because Jimmy has to be as good as he can be. But you're looking at Franzen to be the guy tonight.
Yeah, but if they're smart out there, they won't pick anybody we picked. They'll go the other way.
Well, Glendenning's on a roll.
There you go.
Yeah, could go with him again. Ennis goes in back of the net. Forced wide by Kronwall, who's on defense with DeKeyser, while it's Abdelkader and Datsuk on the penalty kill. Back to the line. Good play. It was held in and then back down the ice. Christian Ehrhoff made that play. He's one of the many Sabres who are wounded lately. Buffalo's got 9 injured players right now. Ehrhoff had his ear sliced. Last game against Philadelphia, the Sabres lost 2 others to injury who are not in the lineup tonight, including a goaltender. And that's why Hackett is the only healthy netminder they've got. They called up a goaltender to back him up to the American Hockey League, and Andre McCarron for tonight's game, and he'll have to go back to Rochester because they need him down there. Jamie McBain with a shot that went wide. He scored against Detroit in the 3-2 Sabre loss. Quincy took a look and got it down the ice. Going back to get it is the other guy who got the Buffalo goal now, Delorier. Nicholas Delorier scored his first NHL goal, number 44, against Detroit. DeKeyser got checked in back of the goal. Left there is Girgensons. DeKeyser Couldn't get it out. Girgensons had it on his backhand, ran into traffic though. Not back to the line by Corey Conacher. The shot from the point. Howard through traffic made the save. Out of the box is Helm, who's got it at center, and he's got some help. He's got Abdelkader on the right wing. Franz into the goal. And too far for him. Back to the line though to Brendan Smith. A little tap pass in deep. Abdelkader's got it. Back to the line here to Kindle. For Brendan Smith, top of the left circle with a shot. That was stopped. Intercepted. Abdelkader's shot after Franzen knocked down the Sabres' clearing attempt. It's still 0-0 first period from Buffalo on Fox Sports Detroit.
Obviously, I don't think I'm going to score every night. I don't think that that's going to turn over a new leaf, and I'll be on the score sheet every night. But, I mean, if I can chip in here and there, that would be great. And, you know, I got to win faceoffs, so I got to be good on the PK and do other things well.
And he finally got that first National Hockey League goal. You're talking the MSU, are you? There you go. Surrounded by the Spartans.
They forgot, don't they?
Yeah, well, after the game, when I saw Justin, and I thought, and he said, oh, yeah, that wasn't lost on us.
That's good. Lots of fun. I tell you, it's a big difference when you get Abdelkader in the lineup at 2:15 and gritty. He protects the puck well like he did in Montreal tonight to drive the net to get Glendening set up. Boy, he's a big plus for the Detroit Red Wings when he's healthy and in the lineup.
That play would have been offside, but Brian Flynn, the Sabres in his second season, got it. Knocked in the corner there was Marcus Foligno. And Foligno just coming off a knee injury they thought would have been more serious. Son of longtime Sabre and Red Wing draft pick Mike Foligno. Back of the net, getting to it is Chris Stewart, who came over in the Ryan Miller deal from St. Louis.
He's holding the stick of
Foligno played it over. A shot goes high over top of the goal from Ehrhoff.
How did he ever get away with that with the referee from center ice looking right at it? Jakob Kindle, he's grabbed a hold of Stewart, grabbed a hold of his stick with his right hand for the longest time in behind the net. Holy mackerel. He's down on his knees here. Watch number 80. He reaches. Look at here. He's got a hold of that stick, and nobody saw it. He got away with a little bit there, I guess.
That's tipped in by the Red Wings as Hackett will leave it for his defense. Coming back to get it was Stewart. Played it up the near boards. Quincy able to knock it down. A good shot by Helm. Alfredson with Yurko and Helm. Side of the goal. And that'll be held by Matt Hackett, the London, Ontario native. Well, the Red Wings, they used to be about veterans. Now they're all about kids, aren't they? Your local Toyota dealers brings you the scouting report on the kids on the Red Wings and what they've been able to accomplish this season. The youth movement forced upon Detroit, but it looks pretty darn good.
They're getting some attention around the National Hockey League. People watching and going, wow, where did these guys come from?
See, that was the only way to get the youth movement, was to force it, because that's something Kenny Holland is loath to do.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, though, they gave the guys a long enough time to develop in Grand Rapids, and have done a great job. Circling the goal, banging away. Howard, good save there. He was able to stop Torrey Mitchell, who has no points in his 5 games. The Sabre came over from Minnesota in the Matt Molson deal.
To your point, Ken, Glendening is here before they expected he would be. Sheehan is here before they expected he would be. Probably Tatar as well. Not Nyquist. He's been 4 years in the minors. And certainly Yurko well in advance of what they expected out of him. So, boy, what can you say? But the bottom line is they're doing a job, and they've earned their positions.
And next year at training camp, Anthony Mantha, the big 6'4", 50-goal shooter from the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and the MVP with Val-d'Or, he's going to be having the Red Wings take a long look. He may get a look at some point next season, unlikely to start the year, but not too long away. Jamie McBain came over from Calgary. Leg one turns inside the line. He'll be an unrestricted free agent end of the season. Leguan with a shot in that was tipped by Drew Miller. Fired around by Mike Weber. Kindle able to keep the puck in though. Knocked down was Leguan. Kindle sees his team in the midst of a change, so the Red Wings will regroup.
I thought David Leguan could have taken that shot from the high slot. Instead he chose to pass it off, and they got no shot.
Pass intended for Tatar, hit a stick, was knocked away. So Nyquist goes in to get it. For Tatar, Sheahan on the move. Nyquist back for Tatar. Got checked at the line. Good coverage by the Sabres, Christian Ehrhoff, their veteran defenseman. Their most veteran player, Henrik Talinder, their oldest player, is out of the lineup. He's 34 years old. Matt Ellis, the former Red Wing, as Hackett holds on, is 32, and he's the elder statesman in the Buffalo room. So
they need some of that.
It's about youth. Yes,
they need a lot more of that in Buffalo. They're like Edmonton. They've got a lot of young people, but they don't have a lot of experienced people to show these kids the way, how to get your laundry done, where to get a car, where to do this, where to do that off the ice, let alone on the ice. And here was David Leguan a moment ago. Hold it right there, guys. Look at the traffic. I'm firing that thing at the net if I'm number 17 right there, boy. 10 points for Leguan in his short Detroit career. Pretty seamlessly, really.
And again, he is the Red Wings' leading scorer, Leguan, although it should be with an asterisk because most of his points did not come with the Detroit Red Wings. So technically, I guess he shouldn't be the leading scorer, and we'll see where that finishes at the end of the year. Right now, a couple ahead of Zetterberg and Kronwall. Point shot, and Howard will hold on the shot from Marcus Foligno. We'll be back in a moment to Buffalo.
Well, Mike Babcock's team, as Ken pointed out, like to think they need 3 points to guarantee a playoff spot. There is the way it stands starting tonight's play. Toronto plays at St. Louis tonight. Columbus is home to Phoenix. Washington is playing tonight. New Jersey is not. But a win tonight would lock 2 of them out pretty much. Pittsburgh and Detroit right there would be your settings if we were to end the way they are tonight. 7 plays, 1 on the other side, really 2 and 7. And don't we know what 2 and 7 can do, Ken, in playoff play all year long, or all season, many seasons.
Shot from the top of the circle, saved there by Hackett.
Going back to last year, it doesn't take very long on an icing. Was Anaheim was number 2 and Detroit was 7, and I'll be darned if Detroit didn't upset him in 7 games. The Red Wings won't get any healthier from here to the end for all purposes. Zetterberg and Eriksson not expected back until a possible second round. Dan Cleary working on his leg, feeling a little better, but he's been out a long time.
Kindle with a long pass that tipped in by Tatar, who got hit by Nicholas Deslauriers at center. Deslauriers with it again. Drop back and a stretch pass by Mark Pysyk. Up into the netting and out of play. Shots even at 7 apiece past the halfway point of this first period. Well, Red Wing fans, it's more than hockey. It's playoff hockey, and it's where you need to be. Tickets for round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs are on sale now. Get yours today. Ticket executives are standing by at 313-471-7575.
Well, the animated Mr. Tatar. He's had a great season. 19 goals, and he is so tough with the puck. Believe it or not, his size, most guys are bigger than him, but he's got a determination to play this game like very few do, boy. And most of the time when he's not supposed to come up with the puck, he finds a way to do it.
Shot in on Howard, made the save. Puck to the corner. Johan Larsson there, number 22 for Buffalo. Datsuk couldn't get through. A rare turnover. Last shot back of the net, pulled it back in, got help there from Datsuk. Move back to the line, though, with a shot from McBain, who was forced by Abdelkader. Howard had a paddle down to stop that as Datsuk will play one ahead to center as Abdelkader gives it back to Franzen. Datsuk goes for a change. Franzen goes into the corner after it.
Tough shift for Pavel Datsuk. He didn't like getting hit near the end of it either.
McBain moves it out for Buffalo. Then backhanded in by the aforementioned Matt Hellis, number 37 for the Sabres. Just a few years with the Red Wings, more spent with Grand Rapids. Ellis over to get it. Checked there by Quincy. Helm with Yurko and a perfect pass for Alfredsson. Alfredsson goes in after and a lift to the stick on Ruotsalainen. Good young defenseman for Buffalo. As his counterpart, number 55, Kronwall, got it over for Smith and a return pass for Nick Kronwall. Off the toe of Yurko's stick, he goes to get it. Yurko likes the curve on that toe of his stick. Flynn played it back, brought ahead by Ruotsalainen. Glendening able to scoop it back for the Red Wings. Kronwall at the left side of the pass across. Brought back in by Glendening. Miller with a quick shot, missed the net, other side. Smith back behind for Legwand, grabbed there first by Ehrhoff. He gets checked. Glendening got it back to Legwand. And just missed in the slot as Smith was moving in. Drew Miller, 99 career points. Legwand shoveled it deep. Taken first by Jake McCabe. Dropped back there by Tyler Ennis. Good kickoff in the slot. As Quincy will skate at the center. And he'll get it into Buffalo territory as the Sabres McBain. Long stretch pass out of Semgus Girgensons' reach. Howard can't play it. Girgensons got there first. Back to the point for McBain to the other side. In back of the net to Kaiser. For Franzen.
Look out here.
Didn't get it out of the zone as it's taken by Cody Hodson. The Canucks former first-round pick got one back to Girgensons, put it in front. There to knock it away, though, was Quincy, who had trouble, and he went down. Gets help from Franzen. Torrey Mitchell trying to grab that loose puck. Abdelkader gets the stick in there. Reversed by DeKaiser for Pavel Datsuk. Datsuk through center, now into Buffalo territory. 1-on-4, dangled with it and then lost it. Kindle gave him the puck back. Good play. On to Tatar, let a snapshot go. That was held by Hackett, but nicely set up. You're watching Red Wings hockey on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
This game break is brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Phoenix and Columbus, midway through the fourth. It is Nathan Horton with the pass in the slot to Boone Jenner with that wrister. We are now tied 1-1 in Columbus. Guys, for now, back to you.
And Nathan Horton back in the lineup, and he wasn't supposed to be playing, but he's back in, and it's a good thing because the Blue Jackets have lost R.J. Umberger. And remember, Horton's got the goal for Columbus when they go in to play Dallas tomorrow night. They're up 1-0 in that game. That'll start full game at the 20 minutes, a 60-minute game. Fanned on there by Lashoff. And a good diving play, though, before Matt D'Agostini, who's got good speed, could break away. Kindle with a good play for Nyquist, up for Tatar. Tatar stops, gets checked. Kindle with a shot. Tatar with Helm and Nyquist. Helm couldn't handle it. Back here it comes to Kindle. It's a bit of a change already for the lines for the Red Wings. They can mix and match with so many centers now available. Helm. Back for Tatar. Point shot. Nyquist just missed it. Came loose in front.
Well, Mike Babcock knows, Ken, that you can't fool around with this Buffalo team. for a long time. You're going to end up with a bad bounce or a power play against you. Puck ends up in your net, and all of a sudden you're chasing it. They don't want to do that. Not with a game tomorrow night in Pittsburgh.
Remember, they led 3-0 over Buffalo with 4.5 to go in the first period on Friday night. There's around that time left, just under that now.
Ooh.
Back into the middle. Datsyuk gets checked and still nothing on the board. Shots are 9-8 Sabres. Datsyuk gets chased by his former teammate Ellis. Kronwall sees his team in the midst of a change. Red Wings have won 7 straight games against Buffalo. And 11-1-1. It's past 13 with the Sabres. Drew Miller, who no longer faces his brother Ryan on this side of things, but could face Ryan in the last game of this regular season. Now a member of the St. Louis Blues if Ryan plays that night. Or afternoon, I should say.
Penalty Buffalo.
Hooking the call.
Pretty good save there by Hackett with some traffic, but good puck movement by the Red Wings to create that scoring opportunity. It wouldn't be going down as a quality scoring chance, but a chance anyway. So their second power play of the game will ensue, and takes a look at how this thing happened. It came from a shot from the point, and then the interference in front of the net right there. Oh my God, that was a slew foot. Wow, that's a dangerous play.
Yurko with Shane and Tatar on this Bell Tire power play with DeKeyser and Alfredson manning the points. Red Wings power play 13th. Buffalo penalty kill 20th. Shane with a pass into the slot, went off the stick of Yurko, who has it now, fumbled with it. Tatar skated to the middle with it. Alfredson, left point, over here for Danny DeKeyser. Tatar, down low, Shane, looked to go back in front, and slammed the length of the ice by Torrey Mitchell. DeKeyser to center for Franzen. Legwand trying to scoop that puck. He couldn't do it. Kronwall lifted it back to Franzen at center. Offside was Nyquist as Legwand brought it in.
Well, Nyquist is cooled off a little bit, but he was about as hot as you're going to get. Mike Babcock said we got to get him the puck. That's when he's doing the most damage and playing his best. And with Datsyuk coming back into the lineup, it then creates some different looks and different opportunities for different people. So that's what his challenge is now, to get everybody on page with Pavel coming back in.
Legwand left side. Nyquist back to Kronwall. Franzen gives Kronwall the puck, and here's Datsyuk, who's open and shoots. Missed stick side high. Datsyuk again, he'll try again. Shot got blocked this time by Matthews. Legwand feathered one back. Franzen shooting save. Hackett right pad. Kronwall holds in. Bell Tire power play. Franzen had a shot block, gets it again. Backdoor try, Nyquist in front to Legwand. Puck's loose, but grabbing it is Hackett.
Well, Detroit with good control, good puck control, but can't seem to get a good break around the front of the net here right now, and Hackett's doing a good job of shutting it all down. And Pavel Datsyuk back in the lineup after 5 weeks out. Game 2, Saturday night against the Canadiens. Off the backboards, he rifled a wrist shot behind Carey Price to make it 3-1 and started that nice comeback that fell apart after the puck bounced in off Brian Lashoff to make it 4-3 after 3 straight goals, tied the game. Red Wings go out of there with nothing to show for it.
A dozen seconds left in this man advantage for Detroit. And Johan Larsson will come out of the face-off circle for Buffalo. Helm with some help there from Yurko won the draw. But McBain for Buffalo, for Girgensons, couldn't get through, and he dumps Smith.
Another slew foot, Ken.
Helm stumbling to the ice. He got checked as the puck's back at center. Rifled in by Quincy. Weber for Buffalo around to McBain. Hodson to Mitchell. On the right wing, Torrey Mitchell with a shot got blocked by Quincy and just stabbed wide of the goal on the attempt by Zemgus Girgensons. The Latvian takes the shot now. Girgensons played for Teddy Nolan in Sochi, who was coaching Latvia. So knew him well when he came over to coach Buffalo. Under 10 to go in the opening period. Knocked down on the play was McCabe. As Cody Hodson gets it out of Buffalo territory. And we've got an offside.
Well, the Red Wings would have the advantage here in quality scoring chances for sure. Buffalo's hardly had anything at points. As you look at that their second slew foot by Buffalo. Look at here. Holy jumping.
It sure is.
Those are dirty plays, boy.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Brendan Smith got the number for sure. It's been a pretty uneventful period for the Buffalo Sabres. That's not unusual for them, the position they're in. But the Red Wings with a couple of power plays had some good looks, but nothing to show for it after 20 minutes of play.
Nick Cronwall will guest with Trevor. Now we'll send it to Darren, Chris, and Lindsay for a Ram first intermission. Welcome back to Buffalo. No score in that first period of play as the Red Wings were outshot in that first period 12-9. Daniel Alfredsson has put up a number of points against a lot of teams and had a great night, besides a 7-point night in his career. The most points in a single game against Buffalo all time. Part of our McDonald's fun fact, that's when Daniel Alfredsson had himself a 4-goal, 6-point night. And all those battles they had, Alfredsson with the Maple Leafs and with the Buffalo Sabres, and longtime division rivals, and second most points all time next to Jaromir Jagr's 98 for Daniel Alfredsson's 88 against the Buffalo Sabres. Our McDonald's fun fact tonight, Daniel Alfredsson, who's having a whole lot of fun, and it proved to everybody that Daniel was right once again when he said, I've got a better chance to win the Stanley Cup than I would with Ottawa. He probably regrets saying that. However, the point is Daniel was right, because Ottawa's not going to make the playoffs, and the Red Wings need just 3 points to ensure that they will be in. And obviously Ottawa, a rough season this year for Paul McLean and company without Daniel Alfredsson, and Jason Spezza taking over as captain there. Second period is underway as Pavel Datsyuk brings it in along with Franzen and Abdelkader, the forward unit for the Red Wings, as Brendan Smith has it at center. Smith with a pass. Datsyuk couldn't contain it. Smith steps up to intercept, giving it to Datsyuk. He got run into on the near side by Ehrhoff. Really something that Ehrhoff's able to go tonight with that injured ear. But the Sabres are so hurting. With all those that are out of the lineup, much like the Red Wings had earlier this season. Getting healthy at the right time.
Nobody's going to feel sorry for you, right?
No. Here's Leguan. Takes the shot, and that glanced off a stick off the high glass and up and out of play. 57 seconds gone in the second period, and speaking of injuries, 1-800-HANSONS brings you the report card on these wounded Buffalo Sabres. Have started 44 different players have played at least one game for the Buffalo Sabres, and their backup goaltender, there he is tonight, Andrei Makarov, up from the American Hockey League. He'll go back down to play for Rochester on the weekend, and Buffalo will have to find somebody else. They used Matt Vince, who was a Sabres office employee and a rec league goaltender the day that Ryan Miller got traded to St. Louis. They needed him to dress as backup, and Makarov tonight, the 7th Sabre goaltender dressed this season for Buffalo.
That kid doesn't look like he can even buy a beer. That's the old rules were in place back in Canada. Even you're 18.
Age of majority, 18.
Age of majority, yeah.
Yeah. In front of that, they score! Hodson threw it in front, and Girgensons knocked it in.
His long reach came into play here.
Well, he just returned the end of March after missing 11 games due to injury.
There was two guys in front of the net, and it may have gone off a skate, not even off the stick. Just a lucky break with DeKeyser covering Girgensson. And is it his skate? You can't tell on this replay. It looks like it, but you guys at home can see it. I can't.
Looked like his right foot.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
There you see it. He and DeKeyser had legs locked up, and they get the break and are up 1-0. And it's exactly what Detroit didn't need to have a bad break go against them. And now they're going to chase it. Let's see what happens.
His 6th game back for Girgensons after missing the 11. So number 11, Alfredsson turns with it. Alfredsson down low, back of the net. Needs some of that luck he's got against Buffalo to come into play now. Alfredsson chopped at it. The Sabres will break away with it, though. Off the wing and a shot. And that just wide of the goal as D'Agostini had a great opportunity. Matt D'Agostini going for it again. Played out by Jurko to Helm. Helm with a long shot in that Hackett stopped. Hackett made 28 saves in the 3-2 loss to Joe Friday. Kronwall for Brendan Smith. And this will be icing.
You know, one more look at the only goal in the hockey game. Again, that may be credited to somebody else. We'll have to wait and see whether it went off to Kaiser or not. But nonetheless, Red Wings don't care who got it. All they know is they're down 1-0, and they're not happy about that.
Tatar. Nyquist lost it off his stick, and Brendan Smith will backhand it in.
Number 6, Mike Weber. Girgensson.
Brendan Smith forced Ennis wide, and Smith took it away from Ennis. Abdelkader goes after it. His mates are changing. Franzen with a shot that missed by a large margin. Quincy took a shot, goes off a skate, hit the glass, hurt his Ennis as that rattled his right leg. Franzen slashed that. Looked in front, hit a skate. To the other side goes Datsuk. Inching in came Quincy, beat Chris Stewart to the puck. Stewart can be a big power forward, number 80 for Buffalo. Polino with his pass knocked away by DeKeyser. Brought back in, but offside. And Sabres hasn't cleared the zone where Christian Ehrhoff, that cut ear, by the way, now has covered that right side, that ear where he was cut by a shot at the end of the Flyers game on Sunday. He took 40 stitches when he was cut for that puck. Their defense points leader with 33. And he just skated full bore to the dressing room. Amazing he could go, and that was tough. Hard hit put on Kronwall. Ian Smith right back out. The shot will be handled by Howard, and he'll hold on. And there's Nick Kronwall as we take a look at our Flagstar Bank Star Watch, and now he leads the Red Wings, tied for first in points. And again, when we say that, we're not including David Legwand, who would have to be an asterisk, Roger Maris size, if at the end of the year, if Legwand's leading the team in points with 50, but Zetterberg and Kronwall tied for the lead. And as mentioned, not since Paul Coffey in what was a shortened season led the Red Wings in points. Back when in the 90s as a defenseman.
Awfully messy down there right now.
Picked up by Pesek.
Doesn't matter who you're playing, boy. Buffalo may only have 51 points, by far the worst in the league. The bottom line is they're going to play hard every night, and when they get a lead, that gives them some confidence. And Right now, Detroit's struggling to get any kind of consistency going, and it's up to them now to set the pace in this game, the Red Wings.
Yurko had it come right back to him. Taken away by Weber. His pass for Ellis. Up along with Flynn and Corey Conacher. Picked up on waivers was Conacher. Point shot McBain, hit a body in front. And the Red Wings kindle to center. In the midst of a change, Tatar let it go back to Sheahan. Riley Sheahan pulled it back in. Giving up back of the net.
Look out. Oh, boy.
Penalty here as Nyquist is hurt.
Oh, boy. Big hit from behind. Jeez.
Penalty coming to Buffalo.
Face first, right into the glass. God dang it. I could see it coming because he was so long on the boards with his back to the rink. He turned there. Oh, jeez.
That's Weber.
He didn't even know he was there. And again, you know, like Brendan Shanahan, NHL will go, even if they thought this was a suspension, would say, well, he turned back into the hit. And I maintain that players making that hit have to give that hit up, at least with that kind of velocity, and they got to make it easier.
Buffalo number 6, 2 minutes 40.
Boy, it's only a 2-minute penalty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to make it easier, like give him a chance to go score a goal on you, but it's a hit you got to back off.
And this is just what Ted Nolan was talking about this morning, because his own man, Urwiedel, was hit in the Flyers game from Sunday night, and he said those hits have to come out of the game. You're talking about any hit from behind or any picking of the head, anything like that.
Absolutely.
Zach Rinaldo was suspended 4 games for the hit on Urwiedel, and it was way worse than that. I'm not saying that's as bad as that one was, but you gotta wonder.
Though, you can't punish by the result of a so-called injury. As far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't make any difference. A guy can get hurt seriously when those things happen. Just because he doesn't mean a guy shouldn't get suspended.
The Ontario Hockey League just handed out a 15-game suspension for a hit that wasn't all that bad, but the guy who was hit broke his leg on the play. They gave 15 games. So,
well, whatever it takes to shut it down. That's all I know. They gotta teach these young people to respect each other more and still play hard and play to win. But you got to be a sportsman about it.
Franzen up there along with Daniel Alfredsson. Back of the goal. Good turn back, and Sheahan stopped. Nice play, Nyquist.
That did almost work. It was a very smart play by Nyquist to come back from where he went, and Sheahan almost tied the game.
De Kaiser. Off the wing for Yurko. De Kaiser now to Alfredsson. Into the slot, tap back for Yurko. Sheahan missed it, and Buffalo will clear. Bell-Tire power play as De Kaiser comes to center and left it there. Nyquist, little fake there for Alfredsson. Luke Glendening pushed it back to the line, but Quincy was nowhere near it as the Sabres' penalty to Weber is now expired. Turning with it is Ehrhoff. Red Wings stepped up. Good play, Quincy. Helm nearly had a break, and again, Buffalo gave it away. Miller for Glendening. Backhander stopped by Hackett. Drew Miller, persistence there with Ehrhoff tying him up. Delory watching Glendening. Ehrhoff checked by Glendening. Regained control. Miller took a hit, made the play in the slot for Helm. Helm's got it, turning at the line. Smith throws it back in, Glendening behind the net. Let it go to Abdelkader. Abdelkader. Into the slot for Helms, shot. Helms on it again. Back to the point, good pressure Detroit. And Hackett will hold on up the Kronwall shot. You're watching Red Wings hockey on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. It's time for AT&T U-verse Reverse Rewind.
The Dominator, Dominik Hasek.
Dominik Hasek honored here a week ago in Buffalo. Next season, his number 39 will be retired. That's why Ryan Miller, when he played here, never wore number 39. The great Rick Jeanneret presenting Dominik Hasek with a sword. I don't know what Dom's going to do with that sword. You never know, but it'll be quite the night when his number 39 goes up in the Raptors here, and we know we loved having Dom in Detroit in the Stanley Cup, and he was terrific.
He wanted to
one of the greatest of all time.
He won't have to pick cherries anymore. He can cut them off the tree with that big saber.
He could do that. But nice to see, and they loved him here in Buffalo.
Well, they should have. He sure played well for them.
And a great trade by Ken Holland, the Slava Kozlov deal, and Dom winning the Cup, and then didn't make it through 08, did he? When in Nashville he was gone and Chris Osgood came on, and the Red Wings didn't look back and won yet another one. On the left wing, and Howard got a piece of that shot from Marcus Foligno. Applicator gets taken to the boards. Played ahead for Marcus Foligno. His brother Nick in Columbus should be back by playoff time, they say. Franzen with a high shot in wide, knocked out of the air by Hackett. He's a big netminder himself at 6'4". Off the skate of Hodson, taken by Brendan Smith, whose brother Rory plays for the Buffalo Bandits in the National Lacrosse League in this building. Brendan's brother Rory, a tough competitor. That's a tough sport to play, lacrosse, but he's one of the better ones in the National Lacrosse League. Brendan in to pick that up. Kronwall, good play to keep control, and goes back for Rory's brother Brendan.
That's one game you can get away with cross-checking and there's no penalty.
That's right. Boy, Rory's so good there, and Brendan with the Red Wings, and Riley with Boston. Quite the trio of brothers. Back to the point it comes for Kindle. Bounce down in front. McCabe got that one for the Sabres and out to center. Ehrhoff to the Red Wing line. To the other side to Laurier. Last shot poking at it. Leg one for Kindle. Glendening will chase it along with Rasmus Ristolainen. Out of the crowd came Christian Ehrhoff. Agostini dropped one back for Delorier. Way wide of the goal. Helm saw a hit coming, left it, and leg one. Stops inside the line. Ooh, Red Wings in the midst of a change. There were many out there. No one's sure how many, though.
Wow.
They couldn't get an exact count on that number.
They had a passel, I'll tell you that.
They did.
Wow.
Quincy goes back here for DeKaiser.
No less than a gaggle of geese on that one. There was a bunch of them. Holy mackerel.
Intercepted and carried back in by Foligno. Ennis couldn't finish. Went to the backhand and just out of the reach of the forehand, and Ennis isn't really all that tall to have that long reach. Hackett left it for Weber. Around for McBain, referee trying to get out of the way. Tyler Ennis brings it back in, the Sabres leading scorer in goals and points. 21 goals in the season for Ennis and 42 points.
Kronwall just got hit in the head behind the play.
Franzen pass back, they score! Brendan Smith makes it a 1-1 tie. Kronwall trying to shake off the effects of that, and Brendan Smith shaking off the lethargy here, and the Red Wings back on even terms.
It's a huge goal for Detroit with 7:32 to go in the second period to tie this game, and there's the hit down in the corner. Kronwall was stunned for a second. He looked around, the referee looked, no call. But what a beautiful play right there by Franzen to a late coming number 2, Brendan Smith, and he rifled it into the net to the side of Hackett. That might have gone off somebody in front of the net, maybe a Sabres player, but nonetheless 1-1 we have. And Cronwall, I think, is okay, but he got hit pretty good. And for a guy that's had some issues on the concussion side, you
earlier
never like
this
to see
season,
that.
5 games off the Cody McLeod hit, and I think that was Alfredson was not driving the net. Here comes Gergenson's in, and there's a penalty upcoming here to De Keyser for holding.
Just what you don't need on a follow-up shift for a tying goal, and the Sabres will go to the power play again on a 1-1 game. We'll be back right after this.
This game break is brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Back to Columbus, where the Jackets were trailing Phoenix 2-1 until Mark Letestu fires and scores. We're now tied at 2 in the second. Guys?
And here, 1-1, thanks to Brendan Smith. And his goal is 5th of the season.
Cronwall looks okay, Ken. He's still shaking off the hit from the right side. We'll show it to you when we get a chance, but right now that's out of play. The Sabres are on the power play, so. But a nasty looking hit as you look at those standings. Everything on the line tonight for most of these teams. Everybody playing tonight except New Jersey, who lost last night to Calgary.
This is going to be the longest delay of game penalty you've ever seen. I wondered if it wasn't even off near the bench. It was right out to the other end of the ice. And from his own end of the ice, I think it was Abdelkader who shot it.
That's unbelievable.
So the Red Wings are 2 men short on the delay of game.
Minute 51. Ooh.
Jason Williams used to try that shot from one end of the rink to the other in practice, just seeing if he could clear the other glass. It just happened. Here's Ennis with it. And save made as he gets knocked down. Comes back to the line. Hodgson to the point to Ristolainen. Sabres work it around the outside. Ristolainen with it again. It's a 5-on-3 power play. The shot that glanced off last shot. Who's out with Cronwall and Glendening. Try to fend off this Sabres man advantage. Big Chris Stewart in front screening. He goes to get it wide. He's got Ennis and Hodgson with him up front. Ehrhoff to Stewart, and that went over the outstretched glove of Howard. Off the glass, comes back to the line to Ehrhoff. Back to Ristolainen with a shot, and Howard will hold on and no rebound.
Well, the Red Wings have gone into a very, very short and tight diamond, or triangle, if you will, to eliminate the cross-ice pass right through the crease. And here was Brendan Smith. Boy,
No, Abdelkader.
Abdelkader. He opened up the blade, and that's why that thing sailed like it had wings. And you see this one a little bit higher on this one, the shot coming from the point. That's a very low percentage play for these guys to make right now. If you didn't know any different, you're tuning in, you don't know who Red Wings are playing, you'd swear it was Nashville by the colors. Same colors as the Predators. You think number 6 on the point is Big Shea Weber. Oh boy. Wow, that almost went out. Whew.
So Buffalo with that 2-man advantage brought back in here by Ehrhoff. Around for Ennis. Back to Ehrhoff. With Ristolainen at the point, who's got it now. Cody Hodgson. The former Canuck goes back to the line and gets it back. He'll shoot one, Howard to save. What a stop on the rebound! Oh, he stopped Ristolainen in front, and he's got it with the De Keyser penalty over. With 3 seconds left in the Abdelkader penalty.
Well, that was a grade A scoring chance for sure by Buffalo, and 2 things happened here. First of all, Jimmy Howard made a huge save, and then Pavel Datsyuk saved a goal right there on the rebound, getting his stick in the lane. They had a wide open net and could not get the puck up thanks to Datsyuk's stick. It was Ristolainen. And 3 seconds away from this 5-on-3 for a minute 51 could be a game changer for the Red Wings. Boy.
Howard the save, and a ricochet off a body in front and just wide. Helm into the corner. Abdelkader gets bumped. Tries to come out front with it to the corner for Helm. Off the back of the goal. Shane came over to cut off his man, Foligno. Tapped into the corner as Nyquist goes for it. Uses the net as a nice block there to lead the Red Wings out as Tatar brings it in. Nyquist going on the left wing. Back at the save. Flynn for Buffalo. Conacher. Kindle whacking at it. Conacher with it, taken to the boards by Shan. Conacher gives up a lot of size in that matchup. He goes down. Nyquist, good play to the middle. Good outstretched stick there by Brendan Smith. Left there for the rookie, Jake McCabe. Playing in just his 4th game.
Pace is picked up again, boy.
Quincy ties up D'Agostini. Pair of 27s battling. To Kaiser. Or Bronson. Red Wings in the midst of a change as Helm comes over the boards. Helm's got it now out along with Daniel Alfredsson and Yurko. Ehrhoff tipped it back to center for D'Agostini. He gets checked immediately as DeKaiser stood up.
Neither team having a whole lot of luck getting through center ice smoothly at all. Going very choppy.
Dumped in by Buffalo. We're in a 1-1 tie here, late stages of period 2. Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond with you. The Red Wings have scored at least 3 goals in 6 consecutive games, and 10 of their last 11, which they've gone 7-3-1. But just 1 here tonight against Buffalo, and the Sabres the lowest scoring team in the league. Red Wings did beat Buffalo 3-2 at the Joe on Friday night, and have won the first 3 meetings of the season and their past 7 meetings overall. Brendan Smith, who's got the Red Wing goal. He scored it from Bronson and Alfredsson at 12:28 of this second period to offset the Girgensons goal from Hodgson and Weber at 1:31, as Matt Hackett will hold on to that. So we'll step out back to First Niagara Center in a moment.
Well, it's 1-1 here as we counter down. Minute 53 left in the second period. Brendan Smith's going to get his 5th goal, and here's how this play develops. Watch the hit there on Kronwall. Boom. But here's what happens. 1, 2, 3 Sabres are caught, and Brendan Smith recognizes that and jumps into the hole to make it basically a 3-on-2. Here he comes. They're not going to go. Hold it right there. The key there, number 11 drives the net. Alfredsson takes the guy with him. Pass into the slot. Perfect play, and Smith nicely with patience goes to his left and puts it in the open side. Can't draw him up any better than that.
McCabe for Buffalo. Goes off the stick of Conacher to center. Lashoff got over, and here comes Franzen. Back to Datsuk. Datsuk driving the net. Got sandwiched by 2 Sabres, and there's a penalty upcoming as a result of that. Really? Kindle. Howard to the bench for an extra skater. Abdelkader the shot. The rebound in front.
Ooh.
Holding the call against Buffalo.
Again, Datsuk's doing something that we don't see him do very often. Very frustrated. Maybe that's because he's been out for so long. He almost just stopped on the play behind the net. Watch his body language here after he's hooked on it. Holding and hooking right there. But watch Pavel. At this time, he doesn't know there's any penalty. Look at it. He has no idea. So his body language is like, what am I supposed to do? You don't see that with him very often. So I just chalk it up to he's not back in game shape and mentally or physically yet. But look out when he does.
Sabres don't get it out. Shane with a shot off the goal post. Changed direction on the way through. hit a stick in front. And the Sabres now have a broken stick. They're without one and down a man. So can the Red Wings take advantage here with a minute to go in the period? Tatar with a little stutter step to find some space. Shane in front of Hackett. Yurko in the high slot. The shot by Kaiser sailed off his stick and high and wide, and Alfredsson couldn't keep it in.
And they don't go for an, there comes a line change coming now. The broken stick.
Turning is Tatar. Now the Sabres will be able to make a complete change here. Red Wings follow suit with 40 seconds to go in the second period. Left for Datsuk. Off the wing. Leg one in. He turns back.
Oh, jeez.
And Kronwall missed it.
That thing just, I don't know whether it had a hole in the stick or whether it jumped.
Leg one on the left side in the slot. Nyquist the shot and missed on the glove side of Hackett. Great little tip there by Franzen to keep control of that puck. As Leg one's got it in the corner in front of Nyquist as the period comes to its conclusion. But the Red Wings battled back from being down 1-0. There you see what we've got for you in store in our MGM Grand Detroit second intermission report with Darren, Chris, and Lindsay. Back here in Buffalo, 1-1. Brendan Smith even the scoring. Girgensson scored for the Sabres in that second period. And don't miss the excitement on and off the ice this Friday. The Wings play their final home game of the regular season. It's against Carolina. Fan Appreciation Night. Hundreds of prizes will be given away in arena, on Red Wings social media, and right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Only single and standing room tickets remain for the game. So as the sellout streak continues, get them while you can. More information at DetroitRedWings.com. There is a man by the name of Jim Corsi. He's the goaltending coach for the Buffalo Sabres, for whom numbers began as goaltending stats. And for you stat geeks out there, and especially the guys in Alberta, Canada, they've come up with what they call Corsi numbers. It can make your head spin, Mick, as I know yours would, as they've taken what they call numbers and break down the game in every aspect possible. They're called Corsi numbers, although this guy, Jim Corsi, has nothing to do with the numbers. He worked them for his goaltenders, even strength, etc., way back when. And the blogosphere out there decided to develop Corsi numbers. And that's, if you hear that phrase in hockey terminology, that's the gentleman where it started. But he's got nothing to do with it now. He said, even I don't comprehend most of them. It's for those who want to delve into the game.
So obviously he didn't have a patent on it.
He did not.
Should have.
Exactly, he should have. That's right. He did.
Patent pending, my boy.
Yeah.
Patent pending. As the third period is pending here. 1-1 in a, I guess, as critical as they get for Detroit as we go into the last week. 4 games to go. They really would love to put this thing to bed before they have to go into St. Louis on Sunday in an afternoon game. So here we go to start period number 3. Short power play for Detroit.
As Datsuk brings it in. Takes the shot, saved by Hackett, and cleared back down the ice. Well, Jim Corsi's had his share of goaltenders to work with now 7 dressed for the Buffalo Sabres in an injury season for them.
Oh, jeez, what a collision.
Ooh. On the left wing side for Legwand. Datsuk's got it, left point, across, from the shot, and again wide of the goal. He's had a few of those opportunities. Out of the box came Flynn. Howard now there came into the trapezoid, played one around to Franzen, who got bumped. It lifted a backhander out to the Sabres line. Jamie McBain for Buffalo. As the Sabres, Foligno shoots it in. Lead pass, Yurko got cut off. And back in and quickly offside.
That was an ill-advised pass, and it came from, I think, the veteran Alfredsson, who knows better than to give a suicide pass up the middle like that, but we all do it, no matter how many years you've played in this league.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Helm with Yurko and Alfredsson as they've been through the night.
Penalty coming up to Buffalo. It's probably going to be Stewart, who was fencing with Yurko, and Yurko would have none of it, but Stewart got a little bit carried away near the end, and I think he's going to pay the price.
And not a bad move to have none of it with Chris Stewart, who's a big man just returning from injury. Again, he came over from St. Louis on the Ryan Miller deal.
See the two of them chopping away here at center ice. I don't like the call. I'll take it for a Red Wing fan. But it's a pretty cheap call against anybody. So
Red Wings go to another bell tire power play here as Alfredsson fakes the shot. He's got the Kaiser near side with him, trying to spread it out. Alfredsson turning. And failing to hold it in was Tatar.
Problem with a call like that, Ken, is that you better take advantage of it, because you're probably going to get one against you later on the same kind of way. I don't like the way that stuff develops at all.
No entry there by Detroit. And as DeKaiser is back to pick it up with Alfredsson and Shane and Yurko and Tatar. A bouncer into the glove of Hackett, who will just hold on, and if that was the intention, to get a face-off in the Buffalo zone, the Red Wings were able to get that. The youngster Matt Hackett, the nephew of former National Hockey League goaltender Jeff Hackett, and he played his junior in Plymouth.
Detroit's had the edge on quality scoring chances tonight, so he's done a nice job so far in a 1-1 game. Franzen gets a new piece of whatever they call it, composite.
Yeah, you can't say got good wood on it anymore, can you? Really, but you do.
You do, because everybody understands.
Shot by Franzen again. He must have had 6 shots high over top of the net tonight. As the Sabres, 2 of them are in. The shot, the save by Howard off Johan Larsson. Datsuk back the other way. Great chance for Buffalo shorthanded. Datsuk in. And Hackett looking very calm and composed, just holds on.
Boy, that's too close for comfort. I'm going to tell you, the puck jumps like that. Nice little play. And Nyquist did a great job to nullify a 2-on-1 right there and force the shot a little bit early, but still a very good save by Jim Howard with his right pad in a 1-1 game that Detroit must win.
3 points to clinch a playoff spot for Detroit if they can get to 91. One of those points given up by the others. Washington still in the mix. Alexander Ovechkin has scored his 50th of the season tonight. Could wind up leading the league in -2, but that's another story. Here's Datsuk, carries in. Datsuk going wide with it. And he couldn't connect there with Kronwall at the left point. Ahead to Datsuk in full flight. Legwand heads to the front of the goal. Then it's tipped, but not out. Franzen. 5 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Legwand couldn't get the puck. And Buffalo will clear it down the ice as Stewart steps out of the box. Shots are 27-19 in favor of Detroit. A 1-1 tie. Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond, and Trevor Thompson with you from Buffalo. Here on Fox Sports Detroit is again Hackett. Knowing the young group he has with him just settles it down for this face-off, gives us a chance to bring you Tim Horton's upcoming game schedule. And the Red Wings will travel to Pittsburgh on NBC Sportsnet tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. If you're tuning in, we'll be back with you on Fox Sports Detroit Plus, the final regular season home game. Only standing room and single tickets remain for that one, and then the Red Wings will close out in the afternoon in St. Louis. Rebound in front of the net. Helm, score!
Bingo.
It's 2-1. Helm, Glendening, and Miller. The Red Wings, their first lead of the game.
Face-offs, 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 boy. And they create the opportunity for the puck to end up in the back of the net. Darren Helm won the draw. Glendening goes to the front. He gets a piece of it, or he did, maybe not. And Helm just picked it out of the crowd. And Stutter stepped to the far side and dumped it in the open net. Wow. And they couldn't get back to cover him quickly. What a strange goal off a face-off win. A couple of bounces off skates, and the Red Wings are up 2-1.
And Miller in front was able to tie up Ristolainen enough, too, to prevent the defenseman from getting out to Helm.
So Darren Helm will get an assist on his own goal to make it 2-1. Helmer's been hot too.
So the Red Wings with the lead. Helm's got it again and then knocked away.
He likes the Sabres.
Yeah.
Scored Friday night too.
Chance for Delorier. He scored Friday night as well, his first NHL goal. Helm made it 1-0 in that game Friday night. Glendening drawing an assist on that one. Mike Weber couldn't keep it in, the 6-year player. Former 57th overall pick in 06.
Last follow-up chip from a goal. This should be icing and will be. The Red Wings took a penalty, so that's not the case on this one. That's a good thing as we start cruising through the third period, and we'll take you back to Friday night. When game ended up 3-2. It was a 3-0 game, and this is a crazy bounce, and Darren Helm, without hesitating, very comfortable, no pressure, bang, just like that. So he's been scoring on a pretty regular basis, Darren Helm. Now tonight, his 12th goal of the year.
Mitchell shoots it in. Girgensons. Quincy getting the assist on the Helm goal. Back to pick it up is Tatar. Chipped it through to Sheahan. Howard the save on Girgensons' attempt. Mitchell. Goal coming at 3:33. Shot knocked down in front by Quincy. Tatar tied up his man, allowing Nyquist to move one ahead to Riley Sheahan. Sheahan on the wing with Nyquist coming up in behind. Sheahan goes after it again and has it as the Red Wings are in the midst of a change. Backhanded through to Franzen. Good play, but it went off the stick of McBain to the corner. Weber trying to tie up Franzen, who brought it to the front of the goal.
Pretty good chance right there.
Sure was. Mike Weber with a bouncer back into the Red Wing end of things.
12th goal by Helm, by the way, ties his season high of 2 years ago. So good job by Darren Helm. Got him in bunches here after missing a lot of games.
Stewart let it go. Foligno shoots it in. Smith got in front of Stewart. Remember that big 5-on-3 penalty kill earlier in the game, and Pavel Datsyuk was out on part of that, so his knee must be feeling good. Pavel picks it up and brings it in. In behind the Buffalo goal as the Sabres will clear it over to Chris Stewart. Sabres couldn't get through. It hit the skate of Helm, though, as the Red Wings were trying to break free. Now Alfredsson will turn. Along with Yurko and Helm, who fires it in. Knocked down. Pesek moved it to Conacher. Howard out to play it in the trapezoid, and he'll shoot it this side. Alfredsson got a stick on it. Fans urging their Sabres to try and get even here. The best chance for Buffalo in this season will come in June, or in the next few weeks, actually, with the draft lottery coming up shortly. They've got a 25% chance, the best chance to pick overall in the draft.
By far, they're way down, 51 points.
The rebuilding squad, as Miller took a shot just wide of Hackett.
Well, they work their tails off. They don't get a whole lot done. Not a lot of.
They don't have a lot of offense.
Yeah.
You say one of the lowest scoring team in decades on goals per game average, but they've had a lot of injuries to deal with too. And Drew Stafford out of the lineup, just to name only one. They've got quite a few.
They really need some solid veteran people here to complement all these young kids in a lot of different ways. Boy, to teach them how to be pros.
They got a lot of early draft picks coming in the next few years. The Islanders still have to decide what they're doing with a top pick too.
At one point they had
to give to them.
Right as Ted Nolan took over, if I recall, they had 5 teenagers in the lineup.
Yeah. Only 8 who are in the lineup tonight played on opening night, so it's been a turnover. Sent wide by Kronwall. Careful not to have it blocked. Right in front of his own goal by Ehrhoff. This will be icing, and they really miss a guy like Henrik Talinder on the back end too, to the Buffalo Sabres.
5th straight year for Darren Helm in a Red Wing uniform. He's had 11, he's had 12, he's had 9. And nothing last year, but he only played 1 game. He was hurt all year long.
Abdelkader back of the net. A wraparound attempt was cut off. Zemgus Girgensons on the left wing for Buffalo gets stopped at center by De Keyser, who stood up. Abdelkader's chip in, hit McCabe, then Quincy will fire it. Going down heavily was Foligno at center. He's still John at Quincy. He didn't like that.
Whoa,
and 2 Red Wings go down. Yurko and Abdelkader collide as Ennis takes a shot. Howard made the save. Foligno's got it. Looks in front. Howard the stop again. Stewart. Ennis, the small center, is surrounded by big wingers in Stewart and Foligno. McCabe played it ahead for Tyler Ennis. Look at that. Bouncing. It's like he's in the pregame skate. Then at his pocket picked by Alfredson. Daniel Alfredson back to the line. Stepping into one. Cronwall just wide. Helm with another shot. And bodies in front. I'm not sure if Hackett got a piece of that or not. Helm comes back to the line. There were defensemen flying everywhere. Helm goes back. Alfredson the shot.
Wow.
And that stopped and up into the netting and out of play. We'll be back. Red Wings in a 2-1 lead.
Race Toronto in Tampa. The Lightning get on the board in the first. Andre Palat with the wrister top corner over the shoulder of James Reimer. That gives the Lightning a 1-0 lead late in the second. Good news for the Wings, guys.
Well, thanks, Lindsay. A Detroit win tonight puts the Toronto Maple Leafs out of reach for them anyway. No matter what Toronto does.
They're out of reach, period.
No.
Wow. Look at the numbers. They're running out of games.
I know.
They got 2 left after tonight.
I know, but don't tell them that.
Really? I think they know.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they can catch Detroit, but Detroit has double tiebreakers. They got the ROW and they got the head-to-head. So
loose puck just inside the Red Wing zone. Flynn took a whack at it. Nyquist. Jakob Kindl back for Gus Nyquist. Yurko went to recover and gives it to Kindl again. Wide of the goal by Alfredson. Long shot into the glove of Howard and thought about dropping it, then thought better of it with Smith and Delorier going at one another. 9 to go, third period. Red Wings by a goal in Buffalo.
who we don't think is any relation to the old Edmonton Oilers Ristolainen. Nice save by Howard there. He's made a couple. Buffalo hasn't had a ton of quality chances. Some help from Datsuk on that 5-on-3. They shut the door for 1 minute and 51 seconds. That's our Miller Lite play of the game.
Well, Jimmy Howard in his career is 5-0 against Buffalo with a .950 save percentage, as you can see there. Looking for a season high 4th consecutive victory, personal. Franzen crossing to Datsuk. Glanced off a skate to the corner. McCabe, Abdelkader got in his path. Girgensons, tap pass by Pesek. Quincy will dump it back in. Good play at the line there by Quincy.
Once again, they have all kinds of trouble getting through center, get to center ice, but they can't enter the Detroit zone as the Red Wings are standing up with help coming back on the wings. Good defensive posture by the Red Wings. Another offside. We've had lots of those tonight in a game that's very choppy.
Well, the playoffs are just around the corner, and it's where you need to be, Red Wing fans. Tickets for round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs are on sale now. You can get yours today at DetroitRedWings.com or during normal business hours. Call 313-471-7575. It'll either be Pittsburgh or Boston in round 1 for the Red Wings.
Yeah, and they'll open on the road because they don't have home ice advantage, and it'll probably be Thursday night if it's Boston and Wednesday night if it's Pittsburgh.
Correct.
Either way, they're okay with it.
Yep.
With 2 weeks ago, most people thought with their injuries they weren't going to make it, and the 22 years was down the drain.
Right. And if that's the case, either way, one of the first afternoon game at the Joe would be on the weekend. Glendening moved up. Came loose in front to Legwand. Whoa, that came up and got Kindle in the face. Right in front of the Red Wing bench, Pete Van Zandt right there. Ready to hop over the boards, but Kindle's right at the door and going to get off himself, I think, to the bench. Without any help.
He's spitting up blood. Nobody's paying attention to him.
Well,
It's like
Pete was ready to hop over.
The linesman says, well, he's a hockey player. All right. He got popped and he's spitting blood. The linesman standing there with his back to him.
Well, good thing he didn't lose the 10 teeth like Mitch Callahan did the other night with Grand Rapids.
Same with Dan Cleary earlier in the year. Jumping.
Picking him up off the ice.
Get your attention.
And even with the mouth guards, you're still not going to help you much. Alfredson lost teeth this year.
Remember, he took the mouth guard out. The teeth came with it.
Yeah. When he lost 5.
That's it. You know what? I was thinking about that the other day. Why do we get so much of that? It's the speed of the game. It's just way too fast.
Whoa, that hit him in the head. Whoa, that stunned just what the Sabres need. Another goaltender injured, and they already have a concussion. Nathan Lewin in similar fashion against Philadelphia on Sunday. Nathan Lewin, their backup that night, also got hit in the head, and that's Andre Makarov, the call-up from Rochester. Well, look at this, right in the head. That's how Lewin got hurt and got concussed against the Flyers. Wow.
It's hard to believe they can't get out of the way, and you. Geez, I tell you, I think this went off a defenseman's stick. That's why he couldn't avoid it. But when Sawchuk and Lumley and Bauer and Gump Worsley and all those guys with no face mask, I know the game wasn't as fast. Thank God for that. Then Hall. Boy. Lots of stitches, but the game is so fast, sometimes way too fast. And that's why so many people get hurt in different ways like that, because of the speed.
Yurko, well, showing no ill effects of that shot to the head. Hackett looking very calm. Stopped the Yurko attempt there.
Well, they took him off the kid line. And he was off because he was hurt for a while, and Nyquist went up there and continued to do pretty well. But Yurko, I must say, with Tatar and Sheahan, boy, they were really something for a long time this year. Right there, no confidence. He shot the puck from 40 feet, and he could have walked in. He had lots of time, nobody around him.
Well, the Red Wings took him 35th overall in the 2011 draft. Jim Mill at the time said he's as skilled as anybody, he thought, skill-wise, in that draft. Weber getting it around for Jamie McBain. Chris Stewart, checked by Brendan Smith. McBain shoots it in for Buffalo. Smith knocked it to the far corner. Intercepted at center by Datsuk. Datsuk circling the goal with it. Back to the line to Cronwall. Hit a body in front. As that seemed to sting Stewart.
Pavel doing his old thing there, playing games with the defender, almost trying to corkscrew him into the ice.
Under 5.5 to play in the third period. Off Ristolainen at center. Christian Ehrhoff, former San Jose pick, brings it to center. Off the glass, Howard so careful. Not sure where those shots are coming off the glass, back into his net.
Stay in.
Yeah, doesn't want a Jonathan Quick happening. He was out of play as that one was, but you never know. Better safe. Drew Miller wide open. There's Helm up the middle and checked at the last second on a good defensive play coming back by D'Agostini. Matt D'Agostini using his speed against another speedster in Helm. Howard will hold on and take the face-off to his right. So they'll drop that when we come back to Buffalo on Fox Sports Detroit.
Lindsay Hayes here with the studio update. Let's take a look at the scoreboard of teams battling the Wings for final playoff spots in the East. Columbus tied with Phoenix. Toronto down 2-0 to the Lightning, and the Capitals now leading St. Louis 2-1 in the second. And coming up on Red Wings Live postgame, we're going to have results from all of the action around the Eastern Conference. We're also going to tell you what that will mean for the Red Wings playoff position. But first, let's now head back to Buffalo, where Ken and Mick will have the final call. Guys.
Yes, indeed. 4:32 to go, and Pavel Datsyuk, with a little bit of his mastery here, cuts to the middle. He's juking and jiving and deking, and at the end, he a little frustrated there. And here he tries to play keep away. Does a pretty good job of it.
Pavel's played 18 minutes and 38 seconds at this juncture, and it's the most he's played in the just under 18, around 17:45 in each of the first two games. So the most yet. Here's a turnover. Leg one. Scores! The Red Wings score 3 for a 7th consecutive game, and they have a 2-goal lead. 3-1.
Credit Drew Miller for keeping this puck alive and inside the zone. Watch the play right as they come to right there. Drew Miller collides with the Sabres, chips it back in. Even though leg one wants to pass this puck to Glendening, he says, I can't. They leave me the lane. I got to shoot it. And there's the play by Miller right there. Nice job. He should get an assist on it. 2-goal lead. Detroit, leg one's 11th point.
And for Drew Miller, his 100th career point.
Way to go, Drew.
As he gets the assist on that one. So Drew Miller gets a milestone marker and a nice assist for David Legwand. Who will pick up his 51st point of the season. Howard in back of the net. Well, Detroit with a 2-goal lead. Mentioned at least 3 goals in 7 straight, and 11 of their last 12 games they've scored at least 3 goals. And in the previous 11, they're 7-3-1. Another terrific stretch drive for Detroit. Winning when they need it most. A long pass. Tatar just couldn't pick it up. Hackett played it. Stick handled. Round one, then tried to get past Shane.
Jacques Plante is alive and well.
And you know what? With those dark pads, it looks a little like that.
I know.
Got the dark goaltender equipment.
Plante used to be the song by Dion written The Wanderer. He was all over the place.
Shane got bumped just inside the line. Tatar couldn't keep it in. Kicked that a couple of times by Delorier. Coming up with it, D'Agostini. And Buffalo will regroup. Pass ahead for Delorier. Knocked down at the Red Wing line by Kronwall. Yurko then locks skates with Mitchell. McBain for Buffalo. 2.5 to play in the third period. So far the Red Wings are from needing just a point to make it to the Stanley Cup playoffs for a 23rd consecutive season. Magic number was 3 coming in. They could knock 2 off that ledger. Brought back in by Girgensons. Cutting to the goal, and he scores. Great move.
Wow, I guess so.
That third goal looks big now, doesn't it?
Well, this is a great move. And boy, does he ever bring the puck to the forehand quickly. He got Kronwall stutter step just for a little bit and tucked it inside. So many players are trying this play in today's world. And Kronwall's just not necessarily standing up, but partly, and that gave him the room to go to the outside and bring it back to the middle and beat Jimmy Howard to the far side. And this thing ain't over yet.
No, and pretty good for Girgensons to get a goal like that. You weren't beating a rookie. You got around Nick Kronwall, and that's
right.
That says something. So it's a 3-2 game now with 2 to play in the third period. Back of the net, Quincy. Glendening tying up his man. We mentioned earlier how the Sabres, even though they don't score a lot, they don't give up either. They were well out of it the other night against Philadelphia. But it's been rare of late. They gave St. Louis a tussle, and same thing, a 3-2 Red Wing win at the Joe on Friday. Brought back in here by Glendening. Glendening going wide with it, turning, lost an edge and went down, pulled it back in, then back the other way. Glendening with Miller and Legwand. Legwand's got the difference-making goal right now, and he'll go off on a change, and on comes Franzen. As the Red Wings change on a fly with a minute 12 to go in the third period. Hackett waving to the bench saying, "When do you want me, Ted Nolan?" Tipped in by Buffalo. Hackett still in the goal. Big collision in the corner. Now Hackett's gone to the bench. So the Sabres with 6 skaters on the ice with less than a minute to go in the third period. Brendan Smith. Safe play. Put it to the near corner, but Buffalo will grab it. D'Agostini tries to center. He couldn't. Girgensons got knocked down in front, came loose side of the goal. Pavel Datsyuk in defensive posture made the play, and a great play by Datsyuk.
That's a great play by Datsyuk to stick with it.
Franzen across center to the empty net. That's knocked down though by Pysyk. Pysyk played it back. Ehrhoff just onside to Hodgson. Howard skipped it in back of the goal. He wants to hold it, and he will. With 26 seconds to go in the third period. Face-off coming up to the right of the Red Wing netminder.
Boy, Pavel Datsyuk really stuck with this thing up the board. Boy, he was strong on the puck, and that's what you ask a player to be. This puck's turned over by the Sabres. Get with the extra man on the ice. They get to the loose puck. It doesn't get in front, but here comes Datsyuk on the right side. He's jammed up there. Second guy there. He stayed with it lovely and made sure this baby got out over the line as we got a timeout now. And Datsyuk's played in some critical situations here tonight. Not only there, but again, looking back on the second period to stop a goal on the 5-on-3 for a minute and 51. That would have given the Sabres the lead. The Buffalo's called the timeout with that face-off in the Red Wing zone. Well, everybody's drawing up what they want to do on the face-off, and 6 skaters for Buffalo, 5 for Detroit. And where's the clock? 25.8 seconds to go.
DeKeyser off an important face-off, and it's tipped by Miller. Good job. It's back into the Buffalo zone. Ehrhoff to get it. 10 seconds left. Sabres can't get through. Datsyuk clears it down the ice. The backhander scores! Pavel Datsyuk with 5 seconds left seals this for Detroit to make it 4-2. The Red Wings' magic number to make the playoffs for a 23rd consecutive year is down to 1.
Well, if anybody can score, from the other side of center ice with soft hands and a wonderful touch. You're looking at him right there. Number 13. Watch this puck take a couple of short hop. Look at this thing. It hits the back of the net about 1.5 feet up. And only a guy like Datsuk can make it happen like that. Look at that crazy hop right there.
So the
Pretty much in the
Detroit
middle.
Red Wings have now beaten Buffalo 8 straight, and really none bigger than this one. And for Mike Babcock, passes Jack Adams for the most wins in Detroit Red Wings history as head coach. So congrats to Mike, and congrats to the Red Wings, and a big win and a big game for Jimmy Howard, Mick, as Detroit now needs just 1 is the magic number to make the playoffs.
Well, coming in here, you expect to beat the Buffalo Sabres, but you never guarantee it. And this game didn't go down easy, just like the one Friday night, with Buffalo scoring first and then getting a 5-on-3. That may have really gave the momentum to Detroit. But Howard not tested severely tonight, but good when he had to be. And the Red Wings find a way to scrap it out and give themselves pretty much a stranglehold on a playoff spot. As they now move to 90 points. Columbus is up 3-2 late in their game against Phoenix. New Jersey's not playing. Toronto's down 1-0 in Tampa Bay. Washington's ahead on the road as well. But this goes a long way going into Pittsburgh tomorrow and a home game Friday against Carolina. So locking up a playoff spot for year number 23 in a row.
And David Legwand got his 4th goal as a Red Wing and his 2nd game-winning goal of those 4 as a Detroit Red Wing. Our big boy's big play of the game turns out to be the game winner. And a big assist from Drew Miller, picks up his 100th career point on it.
Good stuff. Brought to you by Big Boy.
Yes, and we'll send it now to the studio on a big Red Wings win, and here's Lindsay.